The moment my grandson grabbed my hand and whispered, "Grandpa, don't sign that today," I slowly lowered my pen. Across the table, my son forced a smile, but I noticed something strange. He looked more nervous after I stopped than he had before. That single warning from an 8-year-old child saved everything I had spent my entire life building. I had no idea a lawyer was already driving toward my house with documents that would expose a secret nobody saw coming. If emotional family stories with unforgettable twists and meaningful life lessons speak to your heart, I'd truly appreciate you subscribing to Behind Dad. Before we continue, I'd also like to mention that the pictures shown throughout this story are creative visual dramatizations inspired by these events. They are not actual photographs from my family's life. My name is James. After my wife Margaret passed away, my son Daniel became the person I trusted most. He helped me pay bills, drove me to doctor's appointments, and always reminded me that family should stand together. I never questioned his intentions because I remembered the little boy I had raised with my own hands. Maybe that's why what happened next hurt so deeply. It wasn't just about papers. It was about trust. Daniel told me he had found a simple way to protect my property from future taxes and legal problems. He said all I had to do was sign one document, and everything would be easier for the family after I was gone. I believed him. The paperwork looked official, and he spoke with confidence. My grandson Ethan sat quietly beside me, coloring in a notebook. He hadn't said a word all afternoon. I uncapped my pen and leaned over the signature line. Just before the tip touched the paper, Ethan suddenly stood up, held my wrist, and whispered, "Grandpa, please don't sign that today." His little voice trembled. I looked into his frightened eyes and felt something inside me change. Instead of signing, I calmly placed the pen on the table. Daniel's smile disappeared for just a second before he forced it back. Then the front doorbell rang. Daniel jumped from his chair, but I reached the door first. Standing outside was a lawyer holding a thick envelope. His very first question was, "Is James Carter here? I have urgent legal instructions regarding the document you're about to sign." For a moment, nobody moved. I could hear the old clock ticking in the hallway while Daniel stood frozen behind me. The lawyer introduced himself as Michael Harris and politely asked if we could speak before I signed anything. His calm voice made my heart race even faster. I invited him inside, and he carefully placed the sealed envelope beside the unsigned papers. Daniel quickly interrupted, saying it was only a misunderstanding, but Michael quietly replied, "Mr. Carter, your late wife asked me to deliver these documents if anyone ever requested your signature on property papers without my office being notified first." The room suddenly felt smaller. Hearing Margaret's name after all those years hit me harder than I expected. Michael explained that several months before her passing, she had updated important legal instructions because she worried someone might someday pressure me into making decisions too quickly. She trusted my judgment, but she also knew grief and loneliness could make anyone vulnerable. As I listened, I realized she had been protecting me even after she was gone. I opened the envelope with trembling hands. Inside was Margaret's handwritten letter along with certified legal documents. Her letter asked me to slow down whenever an important decision felt rushed. She reminded me that people who truly love you will never demand an immediate signature. Every sentence sounded exactly like her. I could almost hear her gentle voice telling me to breathe before making life-changing choices. Daniel's confidence began to disappear. He insisted the paperwork he brought was completely legal and claimed he only wanted to simplify my estate for the family. Before I could respond, Michael asked if he could compare Daniel's documents with the originals from his briefcase. After only a few seconds, his expression changed. He slowly looked at Daniel and quietly said, "These are not the same documents your mother approved." My stomach tightened. Then Michael turned one page over, pointed to a hidden ownership clause, and whispered, "Mr. Carter, if you had signed this today, your home and land would have transferred immediately." Just then, another vehicle stopped outside, and someone stepped onto my porch carrying official court identification. A heavy knock echoed through the house before anyone could say another word. Michael calmly walked to the door, while Daniel remained frozen beside the dining table. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely breathe. When the door opened, 2 county investigators stepped inside with official identification. They greeted me respectfully and explained they had been asked to verify several property documents connected to my address. The moment Daniel saw their badges, every bit of confidence disappeared from his face. One investigator placed a thin folder on the table. Inside were copies of the papers Daniel wanted me to sign, along with records from the county clerk's office. Michael carefully compared every page. Within minutes, he pointed out several changes that looked small but carried enormous consequences. The document Daniel presented as routine estate planning was actually written to transfer full ownership of my home and land into a family company that had been created only a few weeks earlier. I felt my stomach drop. I wasn't looking at a simple mistake. I was looking at a decision that could have cost me everything. Daniel finally lowered his head. Through tears, he admitted his construction business had been collapsing for months. Creditors were demanding payment, and he believed putting my property into the company would allow him to refinance everything before I ever noticed. He kept telling himself he would transfer it back after saving the business. As I listened, I realized he wasn't speaking like the little boy I had raised. He was speaking like a desperate man trapped by fear and pride. That realization hurt more than any financial loss ever could. Before anyone responded, Ethan quietly walked over and reached into his backpack. He pulled out a folded drawing he had made the night before. It showed our family standing together in front of my house with the words, "Home belongs to Grandpa forever." Michael stared at the drawing, then looked at Daniel with sadness instead of anger. Just then, one investigator removed a sealed envelope from his briefcase and said softly, "Mr. Carter, your late wife left one final statement with the court. It was only to be opened if someone ever tried to take this property without your full understanding." My hands trembled as I opened Margaret's final statement. Every word felt as though she were sitting beside me again. She wrote that she loved Daniel more than life itself, but she had learned something during her illness. Good people sometimes make terrible choices when fear becomes stronger than honesty. That was why she had arranged extra legal protection around our home. She wasn't trying to keep our son away. She was trying to make sure that if he ever lost his way, one bad decision would never destroy everything our family had built together. Daniel broke down completely. He admitted he had convinced himself he was protecting his wife and son from financial disaster. He never planned to throw me out or leave me with nothing. He believed he could save his business first and fix everything later. But as he looked at Ethan standing beside me with tears in his eyes, he finally understood what he had almost stolen. It wasn't just a house. It was the place where his mother laughed, where he learned to ride a bicycle, and where 4 generations of our family had created memories that could never be replaced. No amount of money could ever buy those moments back. The investigators confirmed that because I had never signed the papers, the property remained completely protected. Daniel agreed to cooperate with the legal process and canceled every document connected to the transfer. He also accepted responsibility for his actions and began rebuilding his life honestly instead of chasing shortcuts. It took months for trust to slowly return, but every apology was followed by real change. I watched my son become humbler than I had seen him in years, and that gave me hope that even broken families can heal when truth finally replaces pride. Today, the same pen I almost used sits inside my desk drawer as a reminder that one signature can change a life forever. Every time Ethan visits, I thank God I listened to one frightened little voice instead of one confident adult. If this story touched your heart, please share your thoughts in the comments because your words may help another family choose honesty before it's too late. Share this story with someone who believes trust is earned through actions, not promises. Thank you for spending this time with me on Behind Dad. Remember, the greatest inheritance you can leave your family isn't a house or land. It's the courage to protect the truth, even when it hurts the people you love most.